Happy 4th of July, and holy smokes, a winning day yesterday. Let's talk some more baseball. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I'm your host, Steven, and welcome back. We got some more baseball to talk about. And happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day to everyone out there celebrating. Hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy some good weather. But, guys, baseball's too easy to bet. We went 4-1 yesterday. This is just too easy. No, I'm just joking. For those that are new to the channel, it's been a struggle, but finally we had a good day. So close to that sweep. We'll talk about that in a bit because you guys were leaving comments below in yesterday's video, and I'm here for the community. We are bringing back that bets recap page. Don't you worry. And luckily, we're bringing it back on a winning day, but still, we got a big hole to dive out of, to get out of from this season. But luckily, we got a long ways to go. So we have a full 15 game slate to talk about. I'm ready to go. We got day baseball on July 4th. What's more American than that, right? That's right. So let's get it started with the baseball fun fact. Here we go. Pitcher Edwin Jackson holds the record for playing on 14 different MLB teams in 17 years. 14 teams in 17 years. I mean, that's practically a military family now. I mean, he either owns a ton of homes or owns none of them because he just rented everywhere. That's just an insane way to live. The previous record was Octavio Dotel. I remember him actually. 13 teams that he played for, but that's wild. Just want to point that out. So in this video, we're going to recap yesterday, and then we're going to go over the good and bad hitter matchups, the good pitcher strikeout matchups, the entire pitcher report, and then we got that big game breakdown. See if we can make it 3-0 on those big game breakdowns, and then best bets to follow, the hitter parlay ideas, and then wrap it all up with the bets recap. And also, we have Who's on Fire in there. I forgot to mention that, but we have a ton of info to get into. So hopefully you got that coffee, you got that breakfast, you're ready to go, whatever it is you're doing on that long drive. Let's get started. But before we do, hit that like button and leave a comment below if you have any time. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe as we are oh so close to 26,000 subscribers. So let's get into it. And it starts with the recap. All right, here it is. Finally, a good day. You know what, guys? We were getting close to 20 units. I mean, it was just horrendous. And luckily, we went 4-1 today. As you can see down there, the overall record, it's ugly. Down 15.05 units. It's a good 1.5 week stretch, and we'll get back to even. But still, we got a hole to dig out of it. So 4-1 day is nice to have. Nice to see finally, but we got some more work to do. Phillies money line, the big game breakdown, 1 unit play. They came through. We talked about the bullpen advantage that the Phillies have. Matt Strom tried to ruin my life again by giving up a run, but they came through and hit off that Cubs bullpen and won the game. Logan Gilbert under 6.5 Ks, easy win. No, I'm just joking. 6 Ks, and then he gets taken out. Thank goodness on that one. And then Yordan Alvarez, absolute beast mode. Easy win. He just dominated. We'll talk about him a little bit more later. Trey Turner over 1.5 bases. How about an infield single, and then a regular single? That's how he got it done. Either way, he is the man. And then this is the only loss, and it was brutal. I mean, I thought for sure this was an easy one. Reds team total over 3.5. They have 3 runs through 5 innings, and then never score again. And they hook us. But they won the game in New York. So anyways, that's the record. That's the breakdown. Game bets are absolutely killing me. I mean, I've lost almost 20 units. That's like money lines, over-unders, team totals. But in my opinion, I look at that and I say we are due for some good variance there. But player props have been the good one at around 6 units up. But we got to get better. And hopefully this helps and this starts a good hot streak for us. So that's the bets recap. And now let's talk the good and bad hitter matchups. All right, we got 15 of these matchups for you today. Nick Senzel has the most at-bats, tied with Yordan Alvarez. Speaking of that guy, my goodness. 8 for 18, 6 extra base hits, and 5 bombs versus Chris Bassett. I mean, that is absolutely insane. He has rocked him. So that's a great matchup today. Will Smith, 6 for 16 with 2 extra base hits versus Gallen. The struggling Bo Bichette, 4 for 13, so on and so on. You see Matt Vierling there, 5 for 9, not too shabby at all. And then over there on the right side, 8 and 9 at-bats. But you got Brandon Drury, 4 for 6 with 2 home runs against the lefty J.P. Sears. So those are the good hitter matchups for today. Take a screenshot. Now let's go check out the ice cold matchups. And Jake Cronenworth, how about 0 for 17 with 5 Ks? Like, don't even come to the park when you're facing Scherzer. Just don't even do it. But that's just ugly. And then Carlos Santana, 2 for 16 with 3 Ks, as you see. Soler on here, I think a second day in a row. 2 days ago, he's on here for a great hitter matchup. Last 2 days have been cold hitter. And then Chris Taylor doesn't always play every day. And then, I mean, all the Mariners, really, they are just pathetic to watch. But those are the rest of them, including Nolan Arenado, 1 for 10, but he has not struck out against Martin Perez. So I don't know if I'd really consider that a really hard matchup for him. But either way, those are the hitter matchups for today. And now let's talk who's on fire. All right, these are the hitters on fire in the last 7 days. We like to do this once a week. Usually it's 20 ABs, but it's going to be 18 here just because we had a day where nobody played, and so I want to get some more guys here. And you have to have a 340 average or higher. Brenton Doyle leading the way with 4 home runs in the last 7 days, and then as you can see, Aaron Judge with a 500 average, tied with somebody else on page 2, which we'll talk about. And then you got all these other guys. Shanwell hitting 429 along with Rengifo as the Angels offense is hitting the ball pretty well. And then Vladimir Guerrero, maybe one of the hottest hitters on planet Earth. 10 ribbies, 450, just dominating. So that's page 1. Now let's check out page 2. And there's the other big bopper hitting 500, Mr. Yordan Alvarez, which we've already talked about a lot in this video. And then George Springer's finally catching fire with 11 ribbies, 429, and 3 bombs in the last 7 days. And there's the rest of the guys, including my Rookie of the Year ticket, Wyatt Langford, finally coming around. And Luis Gil is fading, so he's got a chance. So he's hitting 389 in the last 7 days. But anyways, that's the hitters on fire. And now let's talk some arms. All right, we got 3 good pitcher strikeout matchups for you today on July 4th. And that's Nick Pivetta at the Miami Marlins. Marlins 6th highest K percentage in the last 3 weeks. We're going to go last 3 weeks now. Pivetta 68 and 61.2. His K rate does dip on the road, though. 24.2% on the road compared to 29.1% at home. So keep that in mind. He has had 4 to 5 Ks in 4 straight starts. So he's consistent, but that's not a huge number. But I did want to mention this one to you guys. And also, he's only made it past 4.1 innings in one of his last 4 starts. So he is getting rocked. So the more I say it out loud, maybe it's not that great of a hitter or a pitcher strikeout matchup. But anyways, second one, Bailey Uber-Driver against the Detroit Tigers. Tigers 8th highest K percentage versus righties. They've been striking out a lot all year long. And then Obear, 92 Ks in 88 innings. He does have a higher K rate at home. He will be at home, 28% compared to 25%. And this is only going to be his second home start since May 29th. He's been on the road quite a bit, actually. And in the last 3 games, 8, 10, and 9 Ks. But again, 2 of those were against the A's and the other one against the Mariners, and I can strike out 7 Mariners with my offhand easily. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard. But either way, those are the first 2 strikeout matchups. Obviously, as you can see, there's not any elite matchups today, but those are decent ones. And then page 3, Corbin Burns at the Mariners. You say that out loud and you think this is one of the elite matchups. Well, it is, but Corbin Burns has not been striking out as many players as he used to earlier in his career. But still, it is the freaking Mariners. I talk about them every single day. Insert pitcher name is Mr. Corbin Burns. Highest K percentage the last 3 weeks. I mean, it's getting worse. 32.1%. I don't know what we're doing. Like, let's just bring up another offense. Can we just go like AAA or AA for the majors? I mean, it is just horrendous. Corbin Burns, 99 Ks and 106.2 innings this season, which, as you can tell, he's just not as high of a K rate. But his K rate, like I mentioned, it's the lowest it's ever been as a starter. But that doesn't mean he can't strike out anybody. He still has an above average K rate. That's why I included it here, because it's the Mariners. You pretty much have to have like one leg for me not to include you against the Mariners. He's also been between 5 and 7 Ks in 7 straight starts, so pretty consistent there. Corbin's K rate is lower on the road, though, 21.1% compared to 25.1% at home. So as you can see, it's info for you. Are these 3 just automatic locks that, you know, some really good elite matchups like we've had before with Crochet and other people? Not exactly, but hopefully at least this helps paint a picture for you. So those are the good pitcher strikeout matchups. And now let's take a look at the pitcher report. All right, here are the first 8 matchups of the day, starting with Jose Quintana, the veteran, going up against Jake Irvin and the Nats. I don't know what else to tell you guys. Like, Jake Irvin is just, like, actually good, I guess. I keep waiting for him to fall off. But expected ERA 3.49. He's just having a really solid season for the Nationals with that 3.03 ERA. Good K rate, low walk rate. Everything just looks solid for him. But not a ton of great pitchers. We got Montes versus Stroman, 2 guys that could have decent starts but could also get rocked. And then Framber Valdez versus Chris Bassett. As you can see there, you know, around the same, right around that 4 ERA mark, lefty and a righty, obviously, but no pitcher for the White Sox. And then as you go down, there's just not a lot to be excited about for pitchers. I mean, Maeda versus Obear. Sanchez is really the best pitcher down in that area. Jameson Taillon throwing the ball pretty well, too. So that's a good matchup between Philly and the Cubs in that one. But all the averages are on the bottom, so you can see all of it. If you want to bet walks, hits per 9 Ks, whatever it is, or this just hopefully helps start your day. But that's page 1. Now let's check out page 2. All right, we got a few more good pitchers here on this one, including Michael King versus Max Scherzer. Pretty good matchup in Texas. More on that one later. Not a good one in Oakland, that's for sure. But Corbin Burns versus Bryce Miller in Seattle, another good pitching matchup there. Pretty similar numbers, except Burns has a lower ERA, lower expected ERA, things like that. And then Logan Webb versus Charlie Morton, two veterans who have been around for quite a while. And Zach Eflin with that 1.9% elite walk rate. That's right. And then Alec Marsh, who just, I don't think he's very good, to be honest with you. He's just a 4.5, 5 ERA kind of guy, average strikeout guy, just kind of a blah pitcher to me. And then Cal Quantrill, who I didn't have a good start last time, but he's had a pretty solid season, surprisingly. But now it's in Coors Field, obviously. And then Zach Gallen and Melk versus Nick Knack Paddywhack down there. I mean, we got, Knack hasn't been terrible. I still don't, the jury's out on him for me, at least right now, but he's limiting hits, 6.2 hits per 9 innings. And then Gallen, who's historically been a better home pitcher, as you guys know, but still been solid this year, 2.83 ERA, but due for some negative regression with that 4 expected ERA. So that's page 2 of the pitcher report. Hopefully this helps you get some winners. And now it's time for the big game breakdown. All right, the big game breakdown for today takes us out to Texas, where the Rangers host the San Diego Fathers. Rangers moneyline -142, Padres moneyline +114 with a total of 8 runs. Let's talk about spot here. There's not much to talk about. The Rangers won Game 1 7-0, and then the Padres won Game 2 6-4. It is the rubber match of the series. So I don't think there's a huge advantage there, but let's just get right into the starting pitcher matchup. Michael King versus Max Scherzer. King having a solid season right now with the Padres. He has a high K rate, as you guys saw, but he can walk some guys with that 9.2% walk rate. He has been much better on the road, and he will be on the road here, just to let you know, which is a little surprising because at home is one of the best pitcher ballparks at Petco. But 2.84 ERA on the road compared to a 4.64 ERA at home. His xFIP on the road is 3.98, so he is due for some negative regression there. But anyways, huge K rate splits, but opposite ERA. It's really bizarre. But even though he struggles more at home in the ERA department, he is striking out a ton of guys at home. He has a 33% K rate at home, and on the road, which is where he is now, 22.6%. It's pretty crazy. Righty lefty splits, nothing huge here. Giving up a 242 average and 400 slugging to lefties, 222 average and 381 slugging to righties. But he does have a much higher K rate versus righties, 30.4% versus righties, 24.1% versus lefties. And then King has given up 1 or less earned run in 5 of his last 7 starts. His only bad start was versus Milwaukee a couple starts ago, 9 hits and 5 earned runs. But other than that, he's been really solid. He's gone more than 5 innings in only 2 of his last 5 starts. He hasn't gone deep, hasn't been a super efficient pitcher. And then we got Max Scherzer, the future Hall of Famer. He only has 2 starts so far this year after he started out hurt. He had 5 innings, 1 hit, and 0 earned runs against the Royals, and then 5.1 innings, 4 hits, and 2 earned runs at Baltimore. 2 pretty solid starts. He had 4 strikeouts in both of those, and he threw 57 and 77 pitches. So pretty efficient going 5 innings in both on a pitch count, but as you can see, they're starting to ramp it up a little bit. And then not many stats, obviously, this season, but he has given up an 0.95 average to righties in 21 plate appearances and a 200 average to lefties in 17 plate appearances. Because that pretty much means nothing in that small sample size. Last year, his splits were about even righties, lefties. But he did have a 3.09 ERA at home last year and a 4.31 ERA on the road, in case that helps you out, just to give you some more stats. But let's talk the offenses now. Rangers, could they finally be coming alive? In the MLB, you want to catch when a team is starting to catch fire. If so, you do want to be early to the party. But their last 4 starting pitchers that they faced, Dylan Cease, solid, decent pitcher. Cole Irvin, Povich, the rookie, Albert Suarez. It hasn't been elite competition. In the last 4 games, they scored 5, 11, 7, and 4. So, I mean, they've scored a ton of runs finally, and it's been a struggle this year for them. But last 2 weeks versus righties, though, still 19th WRC plus, 23rd slugging, 9th lowest walk rate. It just hasn't been a great year. And maybe this is the start of it. It's hard to tell when 3 of the 4 pitchers weren't really good. But we'll see if they are starting to break out of it or not. The Padres, scorching hot lately. We've talked about it. Versus righties last 2 weeks, the 3rd best WRC plus, 3rd best batting average, 4th best slugging, but a little bit lucky. They've been 21st in hard contact, so they haven't been absolutely crushing the ball. But either way, they are hitting the ball well. Just because you don't have the highest of hard contact does not mean you're not having a good offense or anything, because they've scored 7+ runs in 5 straight games. and then they scored 1, and then they scored 0 on Sunday and Tuesday. Eovaldi just absolutely dominated them on Tuesday, but then they went back to scoring 6 runs yesterday. So other than that 2-game, slump they had, it's been pretty impressive last week and a half for them. But they're facing righties. That's the best time you want to tail them. They are not as good at facing lefties, so a righty is good. Now, before we get into some props and best bet, the bullpens real quick. Padres used Suarez, Estrada, Morejon, and Matsui yesterday. So Solek threw 25 pitches 2 days ago. Austin Davis threw 31 pitches 2 days ago. They're a little gassed. Not extremely exhausted, but I would say they're a little gassed. Rangers, Leclerc threw 30 pitches yesterday. He's probably not going to be available. And then Kirby Yates threw 15 pitches yesterday. I would think he's still available. One of their top arms out of the pen, because that was the only one he threw. He didn't throw before that. But bullpen ERA in the last 2 weeks, Rangers, surprisingly, the 5th best ERA at 2.28 in the last 2 weeks, starting to finally pitch better. Finally, that bullpen has been a struggle. Padres, 16th best bullpen ERA at 3.92, so right around average. But props to consider. This is tough for me in this game because these are 2 good pitchers. But I'm going to just let you know of somebody. Jackson Merrill, the rookie, a hit props. He's been over 1.5 HRRs in 5 of his last 6 games, 2+ hits in 3 of his last 4. He's been crushing righties. And by the way, Jackson Merrill plays for the Padres, in case you didn't know. He's crushing righties, hitting 332 off of them. Also crushing it on the road, hitting 331 away from Petco. He's just having a great rookie season. But again, I'm going to say this, Max Scherzer is not an easy matchup. So I did want to just mention him. And then, of course, Wyatt Langford is a rookie who's really starting to swing the bat well as Nathaniel Lowe, like you saw earlier, for the Rangers. But these aren't the easiest of matchups. So, and speaking of tough matchups, my best bet in this game, let's make it 3 in a row in the big game breakdown bets. Under 4.5 runs in the first 5 innings at -125 on BetMGM. I am throwing a half unit on it. I'm not as confident as my Phillies 1 unit play in the big game breakdown yesterday, but I still do really like this bet. The Padres, like I said, they've been good. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but they can be slowed down a little bit, and I really like what I saw from Scherzer. I was a little worried. That first start from Scherzer, it was good, but again, it was against the Royals. I wasn't that impressed. I talked about it on the Kerm show a little bit, as we all did. We wanted to see what he would do against the O's offense. Well, he did pretty freaking good, like we already talked about. So he's only allowed 5 hits in 10.1 innings so far. His fastball velocity is there, which is something you like to see, to show like he's back, he's ready to go. You don't want to see a guy who's lost 3 miles on his fastball or something like that, 3 miles per hour. But in his last 2 starts, the game totals 2-1 and 4-0. Now it doesn't mean everything, but he's in some pitcher duels. And this game has a better opposing starting pitcher than those 2 games did. And Michael King, you saw the numbers. Solid 2.84 ERA on the road. Even if he's due for a little negative regression, I still, it doesn't worry me that much. 1 or less earned runs in 5 of the last 7 starts, like we talked about. You can have a 2-2 game and still get a win here. I think they both go 5+ innings, so I don't think we see any other pitchers but these 2. And I have a feeling the offense for the Rangers is picking it up slowly, but I don't think they're there yet. They have to prove it against good competition still. And Cease has actually been hit around a little bit, so even though he's the best pitcher they faced recently, I still don't think he's just some dominant pitcher or anything like that. So I don't want to take the full game under, because even though the Texas Rangers bullpen has been better, both of them have had some arms throw lately, some good arms, and they're still a little unpredictable with these 2. So I'd rather just take the first 5, just isolate it to the starting pitchers, and I think we get a low-scoring game, or at least a low-scoring first 5 innings here. So for my first best bet, give me the under 4.5 runs in the first 5 innings of this one, and let's see if we can make it 3-0 on the big game breakdown bets. And now let's get to the rest of the bets. All right, before we get to that next best bet, it's time for the KALSHI trade of the day. That's right, here we go. We are on the KALSHI website right now. We're going to go to climate, and we're going to pick hurricanes. That's right, this is going to be crazy. And if you don't know about this webpage, it's like stocks, but you're trading on things that actually are of interest to you. There's so many different categories. So be sure to click that link below. Be one of the first 500 to sign up. You get a $20 bonus credit. But for our trade of the day, we're going to go to that first one. Will a hurricane hit New Orleans this year? It is a weird thing to even trade on. But you know what? I'm going to go no. As you can see, the trading's paused right now because we're doing this video late at night. But in the morning, when it does pick back up, you know why I'm going to go no? Because I don't want it to. I mean, who would want that to happen? So I'm going to go no on category 1 or higher. It's a 65 cents right now, which means it's a slight favorite. You go put however much you want. You can go 5 cents, $1, whatever it is. But anyways, this is our trade of the day that we're going to do. And like I said, as you saw earlier, there's a ton of different categories that you can choose from. Just a lot of fun. I have an account. Ryan has one, and we just been having some fun with it. So anyways, that is the KALSHI trade of the day. So click that link below to get set up. And now on to the next bet. All right, this second bet takes us out to Toronto, Canada. We got the Blue Jays hosting the Houston Astros. Astros money line minus 120. Blue Jays on the money line plus 100 with a total of 8.5 runs. I'm going player prop here. Give me Chris Bassett Hound under 5.5 Ks at minus 135 on DraftKings for a full unit. Yes, it's a little juicy, but I like this one. So let's talk through it real quick. He is an average to slightly above average strikeout pitcher. In case you don't know, you saw the numbers earlier. He's under this line in 53% of games this year. Just that alone, he's under in 53%, and now he is playing one of the elite low strikeout teams in the Houston Astros. I don't know what this line's doing at 5.5, even to even be playable. And some books are already at minus 150. That's probably as high as I'd play it. But either way, you could do some sort of safe parlay piece to reduce the juice. But he's under this in 5 of 9 home games. So even though he's usually a guy who pitches better at home, he still doesn't strike out that many more. He happens to be facing an Astros team that is just absolutely dynamite. I mean, we know this. We've talked about it. They are so hard to strike out. They have the 4th lowest K percentage versus righties at 18.6% in June. It's like that all season long. He already faced the Astros early this year. How many Ks did he have? Well, he had 3. That's it. He has a slightly better K rate at home, but it's still only 23%. And around 21.5 is about average. And when you look at his most recent home games he's played, Yankees 8 Ks. Yankees are struggling, and they've been striking out a lot more lately. They're up there in the top 10 range. Red Sox, high strikeout team, he had 6. Pirates, high strikeout team, 7. White Sox, high strikeout team, but he only had 4. And then the Rays, a pretty high strikeout team, he had 3. So he's even struggled against some of these teams. But he's had some really easy matchups when it comes to these Ks, and I think that's why we're getting a good number here, because he's had a decent amount of Ks versus some really crappy teams. But when he faces tougher K teams, he struggles to go over this line. Like I said, 3 versus Houston earlier. 4 versus the Padres earlier this season, which have a similar K rate to Houston. 5 versus the Brewers. 4 versus the Royals. I just love this number of 5.5. I'm losing my voice. I like it so much. But recent righties versus the Astros. Jose Barrios, 1K. Yariel Rodriguez had 6. We all saw it. It just happened a few days ago. But we all know what happened there. The Houston Astros didn't have Altuve in the lineup. They just played an extra inning late night game with a rain delay the night before. It was a tough spot. Severino, 3Ks. Corbin Burns, 5Ks. 12 of the last 17 righties have gone under this 5.5 strikeout line against the Houston Astros. And as you can see right here, we'll pull up Outlier. The Astros hitters K rates versus righties. I mean, it's just unbelievably low, guys. Bregman 13.4, Altuve 19.1, Pena 15.8, Alvarez 14.7, and Mauricio Dubon with only an 8.8% K rate. It's ridiculous. And by the way, speaking of ridiculous, Outlier is awesome. Go check it out. The link is below, and you're going to, trust me, you're going to love it. You're going to find so many numbers and so many things that will help you in your betting research every single day. But anyways, back to this bet. It's just too high. It should be at 4.5 in my opinion. To be even somewhat playable, this is very playable, minus 135. I think you got to jump on it early, so hopefully you guys get it. Again, I release these in Discord before this video even records and brings out. Of course, the Discord is free, so go join. But anyways, this second bet, give me Chris Bassett under 5.5 Ks at minus 135. Now, I only got 2 bets right now. It's been a late night, and we got to get some sleep, and there's not a ton that is jumping out at me yet, but we'll definitely have more in the morning, get some out before these day games start. But anyways, we can't end it without giving you some hitter parlay ideas. So here we go. First one, Yordan Alvarez. I don't need to say much more, do I? He's hitting 500 the last 7 days. We know that. Number 1 in baseball. 8 for 18 with 5 freaking home runs off of Chris Bassett Hound, which is, by the way, I didn't mention it in the best bet part. The Houston Astros could just absolutely crush Bassett and knock him out early, which also helps. But he also hits much better on the road, hitting 346. Yes, he hits better against lefties, but he still hits righties just fine, especially Chris Bassett. He's crushing the HRR lines lately. Last 6 games, HRRs, that's hits, runs, and RBIs, 9, 7, 4, 2, 3, and 4. That's absolutely insane. I just saw 1.5 line dropped again. It is heavier juiced. You're going to have to add another leg if you want to reduce it, but still, I mean, he's averaging almost 5 HRRs per game last 6 games. So next one, Luis Rengifo, of course, right? You guys knew that was coming, but he's hitting 429 in the last 7 days, 380 off lefties, and he's facing the lefty JP Sears, who rarely misses bats. He's given up around 9 hits per 9 innings. Third one, a guy we faded actually a few weeks ago. He's finally caught fire. Mr. George Springer hitting 429 with 3 bombs last 7 days. His overall numbers, if you look at them, they just suck. But we know George Springer is a better hitter than that, and he's finally starting to find his rhythm again. This is just a ride of the hot bat, to be honest. Framber Valdez, about average hits per 9 innings. He does struggle a little bit more on the road, but that's the third one. Fourth one, C.J. Abrams, leadoff hitter for the Nats. 333 average last 7 days. Crushes lefties at a 330 average. Similar home road splits facing Jose Quintana. He's just been okay. He's just an older veteran guy. Still giving up 9.1 hits per 9 innings. Doesn't miss many bats. And then the fifth one, Carlos Correa. 1+ hit in 6 straight, 310 on the season, hitting 388 in June, or he did hit 388 in June, hitting 313 off righties, 339 at home. I mean, everything matches up here. He has 2+ hits, runs, and RBIs in 5 of his last 6 games. He's facing Kenta Maeda. Does it get much more hittable than Mr. Maeda? My goodness. He's given up about 10 hits per 9 innings. So those are the 5 hitter parlay ideas for you. The 2 best bets I have so far, with more being added soon, and all the research help for July 4th. Let's check out the recap. There it is. We got the under 4.5 runs in the first 5 innings between the Padres and Rangers, -125 on BetMGM. We're going to go a half unit on that one. That is the big game breakdown play. And then Chris Bassett under 5.5 Ks at -135 on DraftKings. That is a full unit play right now. And that's all we got. Again, I'm going to add at least one, more than likely 2 or more plays in the morning once I can get some sleep and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for listening again. I appreciate it again. I hope you guys all have a great 4th of July. It's just been awesome. The first 2 years of this channel has just been a lot of fun. So it's all thanks to you guys. Great community. Appreciate all the comments. If you haven't already, hit that like button as well. But hope everyone has a great Thursday, and we'll talk to you soon.